Hey, my say, great leaders of today, do you want to live to see great progress in your country? Or you want the whole Caribbean to be filled with bloody stains and strife? Taking poor people's lives, making sacrifice, just to live your big life. Oh yes, well you are responsible for whatever here happens. That's why we depend on you, thinking you would help us too. But you concentrate on power and don't care if your poor brother eat or no shoes on his feet, up and down the street in the burning heat. Oh yes, while immigration's in deforestation, kicking your people out just like garbage cans. But you better realize we have reached at a crucial stage. Situation that's taken us right back to slavery days. But I say, you are the shepherd, we are the sheep. You made a petition, and that you must keep. But how can we prosper with our lives in your hand when you hunger for power, corrupting this land for the news and information that I feel every day? All I can do is just get right down on my knees and pray. And while meditating, I hear a voice saying, "Woe to the shepherd that leads his sheep astray." Oh yeah, but I'm asking up the place. Oh yeah, I'm getting you straight to your place. Oh yeah, you are a big disgrace. Oh yeah, destroying the human race.
Fear the Lord, fear the Lord.
Every leader should be brave. It's a fact I must explain. Opposition leaders too, you're also responsible for when you perform malpractice, overthrowing government. I'll insist, if something like this is of your interest, then you're a pessimist. Oh yes, but if you live by guns, well then you will surely die by them. If you take my opinion, you can save a whole nation. All you opposition leaders and you ministers in government, while you reset and rest with content, poor people can't pay their rent. But when you come to the public, you keep a show, telling us mega business. But I hope you know, hungry children starving their belly out while you feeding high. But how can you rest with content when you hear them cry and deny that you are the shepherd, we are the sheep? You made a petition which you would not keep. You corruptious leaders, careful what you do, for what you do to others will come back to you. But when the radio station said John today, my inspiration just grew, and I fell right down on my knees and prayed. And while I was praying, the good shepherd kept saying, "Woe to the shepherd that leads his sheep astray." But I'm asking of the place. I'm getting them straight to the place. There are a big disgrace, destroying the human race. Oh yeah. The whole world situation is nothing but corruption. Even little children have so much ill words to say, but I blame parents and teachers who resent from teaching them the way. And that's why today, disrespect, I say, is a common thing. Oh yeah. And when you go to church, you'll find ministers of the same kind, sexual maniacs, and then some are homosexual men. They are nothing but wolves in sheepskin. They are blind but yet they lead in weeds. And I'm pleased to see Californians like me who be good shepherds and see that diverse time and peril has come. I say, false prophets rising up, deceiving every nation. It is time to spread the message all over every land. Stand up and fight and wipe out all corruption, and understand that we are the shepherds to care for our sheep. That is the petition which we have to keep. We promise to be leaders and to give instruction, but some only created abomination. Oh, the world is full of corruption and deceitful men today. So in whatever we do, we must get down on our knees and pray. For when we start praying, we gain understanding and know the good shepherd won't lead his sheep astray. He put a blessing in the place. I'm telling you straight to the face. He saved the human race.
Sounds of the King Star Shield, and that one is called The Good Shepherd. I'm DJ Maurice, and I'm coming to you live and direct this evening from a remote location, Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. And for those of you who may be scrolling the web and running to us and wondering what this podcast is all about, let me just drop this ad that you could understand that we do a great service here for our community of St. Kitts and Nevis by keeping the citizens alert of what is happening in our beloved federation.
Wednesday evenings are heating up. Log on to DJ Mauritius' Facebook Live broadcast every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a frank and candid exploration into the social, cultural, political, and economic issues affecting our federation. And just in case you missed it, you can also catch the broadcast on his YouTube channel, DJ Mauritius. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and smash that bell. You will be notified whenever he goes live. DJ Mauritius, every Wednesday evening, Facebook 6 to 8 p.m. or thereafter on his YouTube channel, DJ Mauritius. Log on.
Yes, you heard that right, my good people. And before we get into the conversation this evening, let's take a quick run across to the sister island of Nevis and hear what my boy Carbo have to tell us this evening.
Cabos, located at Fountain Village in Nevis, is the go-to spot for your Saturday treat. Tantalize your taste buds with his delectable Cabos Delicacy Goat Water. Or, if you prefer some soul food, then Cabos Punji and Fish is definitely the way to go. Call ahead and reserve at 869-663-9694. Then make your way over to Cabos and enjoy the vibrant atmosphere while you savor your delicacy. Cabos, we are not changing, we are only improving.
Food all over, food all over. You got the food all over.
Yes, you got the food all over Nevis there, and Carbo is available for special occasion. Whether it might be your wedding anniversary, your birthday, your repast, whatever, reach out to my boy Carbo and let him know DJ Marisha sent you. You won't be disappointed. Now let's take a quick listen to my girl sister Carmen of Carmen Caterers.
Girl Sandra, you know where you can find nice fresh local food 7 days a week, one provision and all kind of thing. Girl, where? Right down there by Shellings, by Carmen Catering Services. Girl, she opposite the bus stop. Girl, and she also cater for weddings, parties, anything you want to cater for, funeral and all. Girl, and trust me, you're gonna enjoy the food. And she also selling bites and Sundays. Opposite the car shop, right down the main road. Girl, you could call 665-1494 or 663-6005 to order your food or go and pick up your food. Girl, the food will be finger licking and you get your money worth. You ain't want nothing better than that.
Yes, and Sister Carmen is also over there in the bus stop in Boyd's Village every Sunday from midday until about 5 p.m. right opposite the Ogaro shop there in Boyd's Village. Just let Sister Carmen know that DJ Marisha sent you. Now let me take a quick listen to my boy there, Brother Daniel, giving you some business tragedies there on the island of Nevis.
Welcome to Strategies for Business Success, right here on 2020visionradio.com and on 102.1 FM with business development advocate Daniel Arthurton. Each week, Danny will build on a foundation to ensure your success in business. Being in business can be daunting, and Strategies for Business Success can help you avoid the pitfalls. Join Danny right here on 2020visionradio.com, on 102.1 FM, and on your other social media platforms every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. That's right, Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. The time and place for your business dreams to come true.
Yes, that's Brother Daniel there at the Hydro Farm there in Nevis. Also want to touch my boy Banky and the man Market Trust, the great farmers in Nevis that is keeping the Federation fed. Also want to touch my good folks there, the Island Purified Water, Main Street, Newton Grounds and Kits. I want to thank Brother Powell and his team for keeping the DJ hydrated whenever I am in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. So my good people, let's take a quick listen to my boy Gijos there, Station Street, Old Road.
Check out Guy Joe's Bar at Station Street, Old Road, this and every Saturday for the best bullfoot, good water, conchs, bigfoot, and cook up. If you're in the mood, we also serve garlic bread, fried fish, green salad, and burgers. So remember, the place to be is at Guy Joe's Bar, where you can enjoy Ludo games, snake and ladder, dominoes, listen to music all night, and sip on some cold drinks. Yes, it's all happening this and every Saturday at Gijo's Bar, Station Street, Old Road.
You got that right, Brother Gijo's there. I have a little rematch with him. You know, the last time I was at Gijo's, it was a nail biter. He won me by 1 point, so I have to go back there and redeem myself. So I look forward to checking out my boy Gibo there at Station Street upon my return to the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. But you know, just before we leave the commercial end of things, I want to big up my boy there, Brother Aston Coker of 3A's Auto Services. So let's take a quick listen to what Brother Aston have to offer us.
Attention vehicle owners and operators. Your driving experience just got better. Yes, you heard it right. 3A's Auto Services, located Main Street, Sandy Point, St. Kitts, where you have tire sales and installation, vehicular repairs, and other services. You can reach Mr. Aston Corker at 869-664-2204, 869-667-2071, or 869-665-0605. Yes, 3A's Auto Services, located at Main Street, Sandy Point, St. Kitts, just above the Brimstone Hills Fortress. And you can reach out to them for emergency roadside services. Remember, Brother Aston Corker is available 24/7. Just call those numbers.
I just want to drive a motor car. I just want to drive a motor car. Drive it. Drive it.
Yes, my good people, Brother Aston Coker there. And we have two gentlemen on the line just before I go over to the man, Dr. Garfield Alexander, a legend in his own rights. I am appreciative of a little clip someone sent to me that Brother Garfield did some time back. I didn't realize Brother Garfield had been following the DJ for all of these years. So let me take a quick listen to what Brother Garfield have to say about the DJ.
DJ Marisha, I don't want you guys to take your eyes off him. Remember, he's been around for some time. Let's go back to COVID and lockdowns. The gentleman came in, was locked down in quarantine, and then realized the total hypocrisy, tyranny, and oppression of the then administration during our most horriblest time. Spoke out. Not only spoke out, became an activist. And then you know what he did? Organize and centralize. And he never stopped organizing and centralizing until Timothy was gone. I don't even want to talk about the involvement he had before and the Douglas administration and the Harris. We ain't gonna talk about that. I'm just talking that during COVID, that man, both on this front, locally, and in the US, waged war against tyranny and oppression. One simple man, a DJ as he calls himself. He never called himself an engineer or anything else, just a DJ, because he understands the power of voice, and not just voice, autonomous, independent, honest, transparent voice always wins in the end. So it could be persons with unlimited power and unlimited money. He somehow always becomes the David against the Goliaths. Be careful with him. Be kind to him. Watch him. Because trust me, he's going to triumph in the end again.
Yes, that's the voice of the man himself, legend, Brother Garfield Alexander. Good evening, Brother Alexander. Tap your screen, open your mic. Can you give a quick synopsis of who is Dr. Alexander?
Well, synopsis. I'm a Kittian, born and raised. I think the only time I left the Federation was to study in Cuba. And as a result, I think just being there allowed me to see the other side of the coin. So I've seen the other side of democracy, the other side of capitalism, the other side of administrative justice, and I've realized they're both the same. So I'm glad you played that clip, because that clip could relate to Mr. Martinez as well. Yeah, because he's come up against some giants, and I think in the end the truth can prevail. So whether he's carrying the truth or someone else is carrying the truth will prevail in the end. So I don't have more than a synopsis than that. I think I'm here in my capacity to be able to either see the micro when we only see the macro, or see the macro when we only focusing on the micro. Because there's so much things playing out here. Because I might have told a few persons I'm coming on the show, and I'm now with the two most hated men in St. Kitts. Two men who I see as heroes, but people see as villains. And Mr. Martinez is the director, producer. So you must understand how everything in this world is all about stories and narratives.
Oh,
yes, we're just here to give a different perspective. It's not going to be the most widely accepted perspective, but I think all of us here think that is the truth. It has the truth at the core.
Correct. Brother Martinez, your introduction, a quick synopsis of who you are.
Well, I'm a film producer and director. I produced 10 movies in St. Kitts and Nevis, and I purchased a hotel with some American investors. And for the past 3 years, I became really an investigator into the CBI program, all the way to the past 20 years.
Okay, gentlemen, we are here tonight, this evening, really to have an open conversation. Our Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis is at a crossroad. And like anything else, I am disappointed that a government that I campaigned with in 2022, under the leadership of Dr. Terence Joe, to change that corruptive behavior of governments, that he himself, prior to being elected into government, campaign and situations that he deems to be corrupt. I supported him in these regards because I wanted to see our country, our federation do better on the world stage, and economically our citizens benefit what they need to benefit. Governments are there to take care of the country and its people. So that was my drive. And I've been that way from 2022's campaign, even though things may not be going the way that I think it should, up until May 13th of this year, 2025. I still had confidence in Prime Minister Joe. I lost confidence when I realized that the lies, I've been hearing about the lies and the misinformation and whatever, and I still could not believe that I supported an individual who gave me the impression that he's about the betterment, for the good he can do for the people of our beloved federation. I am disappointed in where we are. There are many situations that I spoke about on this podcast even less than a year ago with a gentleman by the name of Mr. Benter, who was in a position to break down what was taking place with the CBI and the security concerns that the US government had in regards to the infiltration of China and other foreign entities, and what could happen in terms of sanctions being placed on our little nation. Folks did not take it seriously. The time is now. We are here. It is happening. MSR media, MSR as we call it, I understand came into the Federation during COVID. At the time, through Nevis, under the leadership of Premier Brantley, to start a movie industry. Mr. Martinez will fill in those regards where we're with that. But I just wanted to say where we are here. The problem that where we at, we didn't have to be here. Had we had a government or a leader in terms of a prime minister that would listen and be honest with the citizen of the people. I am sitting where I am sitting at a loss. How could I have missed the individual I am seeing today in Prime Minister Joe to the person that I met in 2021? But Garfield, you're in a position to maybe give some clarity, a better sight on where we are and what's going on. So, Mr. Martinez, give us some updates on where you are in terms of the MSR situation with St. Kitts, Nevis, and the government, and your overview on where we are as a result of what the US government has been doing over the last couple of weeks. I think you're in a better position to present to the people where we are and why we are dealing with this situation at this moment.
Well, unfortunately, well, first of all, thank you for the invite. Last time I came on your podcast was to make the announcement that we were able to subpoena all the bank transaction in US dollar of the officials and the Chinese company and CS Global. So that was a big deal. That's something that we didn't expect. We fought for several months in US court to get those transactions, which we have analyzed them and we have handed them over to the US government, which I'd like to add that they represent hundreds of millions of dollars of bank transaction from Bank of America. But we also obtained the bank transaction from other bank, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, I think, and a British bank as well. But the main bulk of the money goes to Bank of America. So that's why we had the podcast last time. Today, I've accepted to come back because, unfortunately, now in the last 2 to 3 weeks, several things took place that makes us believe that we're now entering into the perfect storm. The one thing that Prime Minister Drew said correctly, and on that he never lied, is that he always says that the CBI was going to be the challenge of his ministry. And that is true. The problem is that on day one of his election, and for close to 11 months, we have warned him to take drastic measures in order to save what represents a major portion of the GDP of the Federation, right? Unfortunately, he has chosen to ignore our advice. He has chosen, and not just him, the Attorney General, Garth Wilkin, who, in my opinion, is going to be in a challenging situation. I've refused to look at any of the evidence, when we came to see them in their office and beg them, say, look, this is what's going on, and this is the evidence. And now in the last 3 to 4 weeks, several things have happened. The most public thing that you probably saw in the news is that that Prime Minister Drew and other Caribbean leaders met with Marco Rubio a couple of months ago. And they took some nice photo and shook hands, and like that the public thinks that all is well. But if you look at the website then of the US State Department, it says very clearly that the United States is concerned with the CBI in relation to China and Iran. Okay? I believe I sent you those link, Mr. Mauricio. That's the State Department, right? Now, in the past 2 weeks, it started by the Washington Post that made an article that the whole international press says that the US has put St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Dominica, and Antigua Barbuda on a list of countries to be banned to be entering the United States, right? Along with 36 countries. 12 have already been blacklisted, right? So the question is, right, why 4 beautiful Caribbean islands find themselves on the list of citizens that could possibly not enter the United States, and why this beautiful federation could end up on the list with terrorist country, right? And that question is at the heart of the investigation that MSR has led for the past 3 years, and which has forced us to go in July 2023 to the United States government. When I went to New York and I handed over the evidence that Garth Wilkin and Terence Drew didn't want to look at, I handed over those evidence to the Department of Homeland Security, right? And as you know, Mr. Mauricio, since then, I have been working constantly to provide additional evidence to the United States government. And I have filed in 2024 a whistleblower complaint to report the criminal activity of a network which we like to call them the CBI cartel, because it's a cartel with a few families in St. Kitts, with network to China, Dubai, Jordan, Egypt, Nigeria. So we call it the CBI cartel. So the first thing that has happened, the first indication is that travel ban that was confirmed in a press conference by Tammy Bruce from the State Department, right? Now, let me just say, I hope that it doesn't come to effect, because the consequences on the Federation and the other Caribbean countries will be catastrophic. Means that the citizen will not be able to enter the United States, right? And you know what it means. It also means that airline will reduce their airline flight to the country. And, you know, American tourists are going to say, why is that country on the list along with, you know, country that have such a bad reputation? So that will be a catastrophe, okay? Now, that's the first thing that has happened after the meeting between the Caribbean leader and the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. The second thing that has happened, which people don't know, but I believe I sent you the US government documents, is that the United States government has put sanctions on Iranians that have St. Kitts passport, that have laundered a huge amount of money. So those people, those Iranians with St. Kitts passport, have been put on a sanction, which is a big, big thing, okay? The third thing that has happened is last week, the European Parliament has put on their website the fact that they are moving along with a law that's going to be presented in the fall at the European Parliament to end the free visa. And as you know, their concern have been always corruption, money laundering, and bad due diligence, okay? Now, those three things have been the major signs that unfortunately these four Caribbean nations at our crossroad, because they refused to come to Washington and to meet with our lawyer, to look at the bank statement, to look at the evidence, and instead, but we're going to talk about the instead. So that's the earthquake that's coming. Now, the reason I'm coming to you tonight is I can tell you categorically, and you understand that I'm under the whistleblower program, so there are things that I can say and cannot say, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the US government. I'm providing them the information because, unfortunately, the Drew administration has defrauded us, okay? And I will explain to you later on why. I believe that the next 3 to 4 months are going to be the most challenging month that this federation has ever had, because the brainwash, the manipulation for the past 20 years of the politician, because they are excellent at that. I mean, you talk about how to tell a story, Mr. Alexander. They know how to sell their story. Has been all the Americans and the European, they want to end our program. That's not what the Americans and the Europeans are saying. They're saying you can do what you want, but if you continue, we're going to cancel your free visa to come to Europe. And in terms of the US, we're going to not allow to have your citizens to come to the United States, right? Now, what's important for you to understand is that this is not a measure that are being taken against the local population of those Caribbean islands. But the problem, and that's what we've discovered, is 250,000 passports have been sold. That's a lot of people. And China has totally infiltrated the CBI program of those countries, okay? And, you know, it's difficult to put a generality for everyone because Antigua is different. I actually was surprised that Antigua was on the list, but that's another story. China has totally infiltrated those programs. And unfortunately, in the last 3 months, we've discovered, which of course we've provided those information to the US government, some serious security breach in the process of vetting the people that have bought those passports, right? Now, so basically, right, you have a 250,000 of Iranian, Chinese, Middle Eastern that bought the passport and do not have a relationship with your country, right? And that are using that for travel instrument. Now, the vast majority of the people that bought those passports are good people, okay? Unfortunately, some people have bought the passport and that are really, really bad people, like really, really, really bad people. Some of them have been already arrested in the United States, right? So all that has happened. And then the last thing that has happened, which the public doesn't know, except if you Google it for US government, is when President Trump was elected, the Foreign Corruption Practice Act was put on a hold, right, at the Department of Justice, right, which gave a lot of happiness in the Caribbean leader community because they say, great, you know, the foreign, which means that the United States has the capacity to prosecute a foreign leader if he has been corrupt in a certain scenario, right? And in the past 2 weeks, the Foreign Corruption Practice Act has been coming back at the Department of Justice, and I would say even stronger. So this is what happened. I'm sorry I was a little bit long, but I was trying to give you a breakdown of where we're heading. And unfortunately, certain things will take place that all the questions that the people of the Caribbean had and have for the past 20 years about the CBI will come in full light, and they will have access to all the secret and the information that they've been asking, and we can talk about that.
Okay. Mr. Martinez, one question. I was reading something there about something I think the US, whichever department has put in place that anyone applying for visa now have to present their social media status page for vetting as part of the process.
Yes, well, the new administration, and I would say rightfully, want people to come to the United States that actually like the United States. Why would you want to go to a country if you don't like the country, right? And so, yes, so if you go to the website of the U.S. Embassy at the Barbados, you will see that if you want to apply for a visa, you have to present your social media, because the problem with the social media, it has become a place where people are very nasty and put propaganda. You understand? As you know, Mr. Mauricio, I have been victim of that propaganda because, I have exposed some powerful people in your country and other countries for what they've done to their population, right? So the good thing about the United States government, and do you remember those propaganda video and fake AI? It's nice because that allows us to find out who did that, who made those fake AI, who linked them. So all that is handled by the U.S. government. And I can assure you that the US government has the ability. So we're very confident. We know who did it. We know who organized it and who linked it on the Facebook. And those are the type of pressure that people that have stolen hundreds of millions of dollars, they're doing that to try to pressure you, to come up with lies about you. But, I'm not someone that gets scared by things like that, because I'm in contact, and I have to say, on a daily basis with the federal agents working on this case. Yes, the short answer is yes. In order to get a visa now, it's going to be strict. You're going to have to provide your social media, because some people are very aggressive towards America. And look, why do you want people to come in your country and if you don't like it? Stay home. That's I totally support that decision.
Okay, there's another name that keep popping up. Name by the name of Cecil Anthony Mike. Who is that individual? What about that individual that keep popping up?
Well, I'm happy to answer that question to you, but a little bit later, if you don't mind, simply because it's part of the narrative of Terence Drew has tried to do. I think, look, I'm sure you understand that after the nice handshake with that Drew posted on his Facebook with Marco Rubio, he didn't expect to have his country to be on a potential ban to enter the United States, right? So that's the first very disturbing element, right? Now, me, because of the very unfortunate narrative that Terence Drew has put himself, with those false allegation of extortion, which, by the way, I will never thank you enough, because you and I have never met, to have the courage that you came out and said that you were in the meeting and that it was completely untrue. But you got to understand, he's not in charge. It doesn't matter who the prime minister is. The people in charge of this multi-billion, which is between 10 to $15 billion operation, are not the prime minister. Prime Minister Drew is reading the script, when he goes to his round table or talking in front of reporter that knows nothing, and he shouldn't. Honestly, my advice to him should be to say absolutely nothing, because every time he does one of those round table, obviously we record them and we send them to the US government. But every time someone asks him a question, he goes off script and he makes a mistake that opens another kind of worm, right? So the people that are in charge are the Chinese, obviously, and a man called Dave Bath from CS Global Partner, which is the advisor, I think since 2014, of the government of St. Kitts, right? Now, who's Dave Bath? Well, the company was created, I think, in 2014 by him and Sylvester Anthony, who was for a few months he was the lawyer of the Labour Party, still, I believe is. Now, before that, Mr. Bass had no experience whatsoever in being an advisor for government for visa, passport, right? And suddenly, a company that he created overnight replaced Henley Partner, who's an expert in, it's the biggest company for government advisor and passport sales. Suddenly that company inherited a contract that gave them the right to receive $20,000, okay, per passport sold by your federation, right? That contract was amended under the Harris, so that was under the Douglas administration, right? Why was that contract given to Mr. Bath? We have the response for that, right? And you will shortly know why. And then during the Harris administration, that amount per citizenship was reduced to $11,000. And they still collect, right? Now, Dave Bath didn't stay as the owner of the company because he wanted to have a diplomatic stature, right? So he put some people in charge of that company, like front people, so that he could say that he's not anymore part of CS Global, but he ran CS Global. Maybe not, he doesn't run it on a day-to-day, right? But what was more important for him was to have a diplomatic stature, which was given to him by, he was the special envoy for your country in the UK. And now, about 3 weeks ago, or a month ago, Drew or Douglas, one of the two, made him the special envoy in India, right? So one has to say that because of the cataclysm that's about to happen over the next 3 months, I think it's fair to say that CS Global did not provide the good advice to the government, and that the reform that have been made are merely dusting power, just dust for the. The Prime Minister of St. Vincent took a very strong public stand, I think about a month and a half ago, about what's going on in the CBI, right? And I was very courageous of him because he's also a labor, and that's because he has access to information, and he knows what's going on in America. So what you have, right? So and that's, as you know, Mr. Mauricio, because I tried very hard for not to come to this point, right? And the next 4 months are going to be really, really, really hard. It's disappointing that they have chosen to listen to Mr. Bath. I met Mr. Bath about 2 years ago because he has the same contract with Dominica. Mr. Douglas took him to Dominica so that he could have the same contract. And I sat down with him, with the president of my company, who is a former US intelligence officer. So we sat down with him in the office of CS Global, and we told him, you got to stop this. The financial fraud, the Chinese control of those programs, it's going to end up being a catastrophe. And that gentleman was very, he has no class whatsoever. He's if you see him, you would never believe that he's the way he speaks, like, I don't care. He talks like that, I don't care. And he was very anti-American. He told us, fuck America. So we say thank you very much. And after the meeting, I spoke to Drew and I spoke to Wilkin and I demanded an apology because he was the representative of your country. Bon, I didn't get an apology, so 3 days later, I told Mr. Buloa to call the U.S. Homeland Security, and we say, you know what? If they're going to treat us like that, after all the money that we have invested in their country, then that's it. We're done. So it is fair to say that this whole MSR becoming a whistleblower for the U.S. government, the responsibility of that is to Mr. Dave Bath, right? Now, the other thing that has happened in the last 2 weeks, it's funny. A lot of things happened in the last 2 weeks. Is that Mr. Bath is now being sued in the UK by a gentleman who is not a great guy as well, Mr. Chomsky, who was kidnapped in Antigua, put on a boat, and then put on the shore of Dominica. He was released, and he's suing Bath and other people for kidnapping. So Mr. Bath, in his defense, always said that because you have to understand, he's super rich, Mr. Bath. You made him rich. You, Mr. Alexander and Mr. Mauricio, with your passport, and the people of Dominica has made that man super rich. I promise you that no prime minister will ever tell you how much CS Global has received from your passport money, right? It's obscene when I see those people talking about water problem and, but that's another story. right? So Mr. Bass has claimed that he doesn't know the kidnappers, that he's never met them, and that the fact that he was in Antigua when the kidnapping took place, it's a coincidence. So I would like to make an announcement that I received the video surveillance of a shopping mall parking in Antigua, where Mr. Bath meets the alleged kidnapper and go into their car right before the kidnapping took place. I have provided those footage to the United States government, right? I've informed at the time Garth Wilkin about that. I think it was not the best decision to appoint now Mr. Bath as. And let me tell you something, Mr. Morisho, Mr. Alexander. Bath is a very powerful guy, very rich, thanks to you, thanks to your money. He has provided the vaccine for you during the COVID, right? Actually, the government of India, but he organized it, and he paid $600,000 the transport. He told me himself. If I made a couple of $100 million out of a couple of countries, and it cost me $600,000 to ship some vaccine, that's not bad, right? So he's a very powerful guy. And for me to come on your program and to tell you with my power and my total confidence that due to certain security breach that we have discovered in the last 2 months, and of course provided to the US government, I think it's time for Prime Minister Drew to cut some heads. You understand? Because we have warned him for a year in 2022, and now things are going to become public. You understand? So one has to make a decision. Do I want to save my country and my people ability to continue to have, program and visa, or do I want to stay loyal to the CBI cartel that control, and that's basically the fight that I've took on. And I have to tell you that we're now in a very, very good position for the truth to be finally exposed, because something tremendous has happened in the last couple of months.
Thanks for that presentation, Mr. Philip. I have invited Dr. Alexander on this podcast today as someone who is a regular citizen. He does not produce this podcast. I want to hear from a regular citizen who has the courage to come and ask whatever questions they want to ask, because we are about truth. We are about saving our country at whatever cost. The country and the citizen have to be first, not these politicians, not these criminals. So, Dr. Alexander, it's over to you. Whatever you want to ask myself or Mr. Martinez, feel free.
Yes, man. I don't think we're here to save the country, because one of the realizations I've had now approaching 50 is that there's no such thing as a country. There's just the people, our collective of persons here. So there are persons even within our country who don't even identify as Kitishan, even if they're born here and receive all the blessings of being here. So sometimes when we speak in that collective, it's not received as a collective. So we are very much a people, and a lot of the persons are not concerned. like I told you before, I wouldn't even say concerned, conscious, because you really have to be conscious of what's going on. For example, the amount of warnings I received just coming on this program, and even some of the persons who warned me about coming on the program, and this is without them even knowing about Mr. Martinez. It was directed to you, Mr. Marisha, and none of them have been able to materialize an adequate reason as to why not. So all I could sum it up is fear. What we have is a lot of very powerful men attached to some very powerful institutions who persons feel within their mind that St. Kitts somehow can't do without. So they see everything that we're doing or saying, the conversations we're having, as an attack on the very institutions and systems that they think pop up St. Kitts. But there's nobody else than us. Well, Mr. Martinez excluded because I've heard him say he's a French citizen. And I understand he knows and understands fully geopolitics, because he also said he doesn't need our passport because he has a French passport. But there's also a historical perspective on that. St. Kitts was once a French territory as well. We were colonized by the French. So if certain interruptions didn't occur, we'd have been French citizens just like him. So the fact that we have a CBI industry that's based on the premise, that's based on the core, that they have countries that are so well off and there are countries that are not. So persons will buy access to these countries. That's how the CBI game works. But my question to Mr. Martinez, if you would allow, is that I was even without researching, I remember when during 2020 his name was first mentioned, and that was along the lines with Mark Brantley. And even at that time, my red flags went off, because Mark Brantley, he's not a very imaginative man. I must say that, and I'm going to be as clear as possible. He's not a very imaginative man. In fact, he runs Nevis like a cotton ginnery. Just the same way as St. Kitts has been run like a sugarcane factory for the past 40 odd years. It's just that the plantations have been replaced with TDC, Harsfords, and any foreign direct investor that could come. So my question to Mr. Martinez is that I was shocked at not only the possibility, but the rate at which he was able to meet with our premier, then Dr. Harris, and then Dr. Drew. That's just my question. How as a foreign direct investor you were ushered in, because it looked that's just me as a normal citizen looking in. You were ushered to all the most powerful men in St. Kitts within months. I just wanted to give me a synopsis on that.
Well, it actually was very simple.
Wow.
We were introduced to a guy called Jacob Katzman, who was at the time an advisor for the NIA, by a cameraman who makes commercial video for them. And we say, look, it's COVID, and we're trying to find a small island where we can shoot one movie. Now, those islands, they frequently get calls like that, but it's all bullshit. Nothing happened, right? So we had a Zoom call with the Premier of Nevis and that Mr. Katzman. We agreed on a structure, and a month later we were there, and a month later we shot the movie. Now the thing is that when you make a movie, you employ a lot of local people. So we had like 100 local people that were working for us, that we taught them a new industry, working on film. And by the way, they were fantastic. Okay, so after the first movie, we say, let's make another one, right? But because of the first movie was so, we created so much job and filled the restaurant with our crew and all that, and it was the first real professional movie ever made in Nevis, right? That Timothy Harris asked us to meet. We didn't ask to meet, so I went to meet him at his office, and the reason of the meeting was that he was not happy that Mark has made all that publicity for that one movie that took place, and that he was not part of these positive things happening in the country, right? So I told him, excuse me, I don't know you. Nobody told me that you have to be invited. And he asked me, can you please make a movie in St. Kitts as well, right? And I said, look, if we stay, absolutely, right? And if you want to come and be part of the next press conference, we'll do it. So it's all about them wanted to be on the photo with something positive happening in the country. So we didn't ask to meet Timothy Harris, right? And when for Drew, again, I never asked to meet Drew. It was Dion Daniel that asked me to. He didn't ask me. He said, "I'm going to introduce you to some important people." And they came to a little beach house that we were renting in Nevis. Douglas, Drew, and Dion Daniel. And what they wanted was basically money for their campaign, right? And they told us what they want to do with the country and all that. And, we said, look, we will contribute like we contribute to the three candidates. We helped, but, small amounts, not like they used to with the Chinese. But we contributed. And I have some the WhatsApp messages from Sylvester Anthony, because we asked them if we can send a check or wire, but they prefer cash. So Mr. Anthony would always text me to receive his envelope. I can tell you how much we gave them. I think we gave them like $30,000 or $40,000 US, to each candidate. Not each. Harris and Brantley. And we told them that we were giving to each, because they all come and call you every day. It was kind of a bit sad, actually, because my mom died at that time, and I was just harassed by call, and I was trying to grieve her, but Anthony would not leave me alone, and so I and I have WhatsApp messages from Sylvester Anthony on the victory to thank me for my generous contribution for the election of Drew. I'd be happy to send them those message to you, Mr.
No. Because I want to tell you this, because maybe.
But my point is that I have never asked them to meet. They're the one that came to us because we have created so much job, and then they've asked with several requests. Shooting movies in St. Kitts, buying the hotel. Drew wanted us to buy the hotel in the OTI, which we paid, right? And then when when Mark Brantley made his big speech about fraud. Because I'm not the only one that has come up with the fraud in the CBI. You played in your last podcast Mr. Sam Bayat, right? Sam Bayat is one of the top lawyer expert of CBI. I know him quite well, right? And he explained that there is fraud, that there is corruption. More important, and that's something that we have the evidence as well, they had people that were applying for the Hurricane Fund, which is the money for you guys, 100% goes, and they took away the applicant. We have the evidence. And they moved it to the Galaxy project, right? So your country was abused of a huge amount of money by that, right? So when Mark Brantley made his speech about government corruption in the CBI and fraud, now all these people, they speak, they do interview, but they did nothing about it. There is nobody that has ever filed a criminal charges or a lawsuit to denounce the fraud and corruption and money laundering for the CBI. No one has ever had the balls to do it, right? Now, we've invested close to $40 million in our project in your country. And when we realized that we have been defrauded, we did the right thing, which is to come to the legal authority, the Prime Minister, and the Attorney General, who on top of that was the son of my law firm advisor, Wilkin. So when Wilkin was appointed AG, I have to tell you, we were extremely happy because we say, great, he has denounced the fraud in the CBI. He's going to clean it, right? And to some extent, because the problem is that the main problem is that everybody is so, it's kind of political, cannibalized.
Related. They're colluding.
Exactly. Oh, you're corrupted. No, you're corrupted. So nobody knows the truth. The only one that knows the truth is me and the US government, right? That's it. We're the only two entity that knows the truth, right? And very soon it's going to be you guys, the people, okay? Thanks to me. So we were very excited when Garth Wilkin was, and I can tell you, I've complimented Garth on some of the reform that he was doing. The problem, because nobody has understood why MSR got upset. Well, it's very simple. We discovered that the Chinese are selling the passport at less than $100,000. And us, to follow the law, not to break the law, we will have to sell at $250. So how do you want to sell at $250 what the government is complicit of allowing to sell at $100,000? It's impossible. Now, when I say we, it's not me. I don't know how to sell passport, Mr. Alexander. We had a contract with Henley Partner and with an agent in Hong Kong, right? A lawyer. And they say we cannot sell. Because as long as they are allowing Galaxy to sell illegally, so what did I do? I did what normally you do when you deal with a country where the Ministry of Justice protect investors like us and the people. I went with our investor and we say we're here to do whatever needs to be signed, to file criminal charges. And we were brushed off. We offered to look at the evidence. At the time, we only had the recording and the video of Lescan confession, and they didn't want to look at it. They refused to look at it. So at some point, the tipping point for us has been when we met Dev Bath in London, and his anti-American position were so clear. I mean, like literally, the week after I was in New York giving everything to Homeland, So, the crisis of the MSR crisis come from the fraud that went on with the Chinese, who, by the way, represented 90% of the market of your CBI, and the arrogance of Dev Bath, because for him, the more passport you sell, it's good for him. It's a jackpot for every passport, right? So that's what created, because people don't understand why we got upset, right? Now, what's interesting, Mr. Alexander, is that at first, our investigation was really on Khan, Galaxy, and Timothy Harris, right? But then as we moved along in the investigation, we discovered that many more people were involved and were benefiting of the fraud. The local cartel, right? Which are really, we have all their names. We know exactly how much they made. The US government has their names. But you're talking about wife of ministers, cousins of minister, people that have made a fortune on applications that were sold fraudulently, right? Now, because I'm not too stupid and because I have a very good lawyer in DC, we've explained to them that what they call underselling is financial fraud going to the US banking system, right? And that's why we reported them with FinCEN, the financial crime network in the US, and with the US Department of Justice, right? But everybody has closed their eyes for the past 20 years because, unfortunately, the people that are members of that cartel have made millions of dollars. And now we have traced their money. We have witness that will come to, and I'm going to come to the big statement that I'm going to make, is that will come and explain that the millions of cash that has been also put on the table for them. So I've opened the Pandora box, and unfortunately, there are names that I've never mentioned that are going to come out very soon. Banks that I've never mentioned, politicians that I've never mentioned. So when Drew decided to read, in 2024, they started to get really worried because of the noise that I've made. So Dave Bath came up with a plan and said, listen, to neutralize him, we're going to say that he's trying to extort the country, right? And because like that, the people locally, they will, believe it, right? Now, two things happened. When Dave Bass made that plan, within 20 minutes, someone that was in that meeting informed us. Within 30 minutes, the US federal agents were notified and the US Department of Justice. So we told them, this is what they're going to do. They're going to pretend that we're trying to extort. I mean, you understand that we've lost $40 million, right? They're going to try to do that, and they're going to try to come up with some awful crime. I'm sure you saw those videos where they say that I slept with a slave. I mean, awful things, right? But it's okay because we've tracked down who made those videos and we put them on the internet. We have very good capacity. But within 20 minutes that they came up with that plan, a week later I texted to Douglas and I said, and I have the message with Douglas. I said, Denzel, we know the plan that you guys came up. That's not going to stop. And let me tell you why. Because everything that I do, I always inform the US government about it. You understand? And the other miracle is that a man that I've never met in my life, still today, Mr. Mauricio, was in the meeting and he had the courage to tell the truth on someone who was someone that he backed for his career. So let me get to something very important, right? We have discovered major security breach in the CBI, right? That has created a major excitement in Washington. Okay. And because the case has been publicized, we have been approached by gentlemen in DC to organize, not ourselves organize, but to be part of a congressional hearing at the US Congress, right, about the Chinese infiltration of the CBI program and how it has affected unfair competition with American investors and the national security that came out of that because of what we have discovered, which I'm not at the liberty to say, but which I believe will create a massive discomfort to some people in the Federation, to some, I mean, the people in charge. So we are in the process to do that. I think it's going to take place. So all the information, how much millions that one has and what happened and all that, that's going to be in the fall, and we're setting up right now, we're providing a list of people, because an American investor has been treated unfairly because of a Chinese infiltration in the CBI program. And as a result of what the Chinese have done, it has created, because of things that I cannot say, a massive risk to national security, right? And that's what we're going to present at the US Congress with the evidence. And I have to say that, unfortunately, that's a lot more powerful than a fake AI recording that was made and linked, not linked out of India, where Mr. Bass is now the ambassador or whatever he is. Because that's, we tracked down the person that linked it from India. And as you know, the US Congressional hearing, they are live on television, so we think that it's the proper venue, because whatever the American government does for the criminal investigation, I give them information, they ask me questions, but I have no control and I don't know what they're going to do. But in terms of the congressional hearing, we screened the documentary, The Men Who Sold the Caribbean to China, at the Congress twice. We invited Mark Brantley to come, and he didn't want to look at it. And other American companies that have been in that position have contacted us in other field, not in CBI, other field, and they say we also have been victim from Chinese interference, right? And they were much advanced in the process of a congressional hearing, so they said, "Do you want to be part of it as well?" And that's what we're working on. So unfortunately for the government and for all the attempt to, Mr. Alexander, Mr. Morisho, if I wanted to be to end the career of some of the people, I would release the bank statement. But if I do that, it will make a buzz for 2 or 3 days, right? And that will be the end of it, right? But when you are going to be subpoenaed to come to the US Congress and swear under, that's interesting. And it's a good place because, in his last press conference, Dr. Drew spoke about Christopher Harbour, right? Now, let me be very clear. The company that they sold the marina, we know everything about that company. It's a good thing, right? It's a good thing, right? But in his press conference, again, he went off script, whoever wrote the script for him. And he said that Harris signed a corrupt contract. Well, the problem is we're listening everything, right? So if Harris signed a corrupt contract, well, that contract was signed by an American citizen, Mr. Darby, right? So we have asked our lawyers to prepare as well um, in the congressional hearing that we're preparing, if the congressman can contact Mr. Darby, because as you know, Christopher Harbour has also a component of CBI, and we want to know if in fact, it's true that he had himself had to pay off money to, So, and Mr. Darby is an American citizen, and, I'm sure that he's a very nice gentleman. And, but that's the problem. When you refuse, when you abuse people, when you lie, and when you go off script, you make mistake. And those mistakes have consequences. So, I think September, October is going to be the opening of the gate. I don't think, Mr. Mauricio, Mr. Alexander, that it's normal that in a country that has so many problems of water, power, that minister should have millions of dollars offshore. I just don't think that's fair. And I had the courage and the power and the team and the lawyers to get those data. But I'm not going to give them with all due respect to Mr. Mauricio or to you, because it's going to go nowhere. No, we're going to release them at the United States Congress because we have been victim of a conspiracy organized and backed by the people that are ruling, the Chinese and other people, and covered, and that's where Mr. Wilkin has become a disappointment, and covered by any type of way possible. I have to tell you, we have correspondence from the Ministry of Justice of your country that we will be presenting. That's going to create a major embarrassment of the cover-up for us, for our investigation, how they tried to cover it up. And all that is already with the US government. So the US government has everything, right? And also how the US, but the ministry, look, they all have screwed up in the CBI, right? All the way from Douglas to Harris and all that. But in all fairness, and I say that in one of the podcasts, of course, Harris did the deal with Galaxy on the gel, right? But the weaponization of certain things that we have obtained of the Ministry of Justice against Harris, you have to be fair in life. You understand? And all those people, they like to accuse each other, but we have obtained some communication that are which is why nobody wants to come to DC to meet. I've suggested many times to Mr. Wilkin to come to DC. I say, look, you should come. But their attitude has always been, the Americans are never going to do anything. Well, let's see what the next 3-4 months are going to look like. Because we took two avenues. We took the avenue of the Justice Department. We're now working full with our lawyer for that Congressional hearing that they're setting up, right? And then after that, we will make another legal action to sue the cartel of CBI. Now, all of that could have been avoided if Terence, Michael Drew, who knew exactly what he was walking into, would have listened. You know, there is a word that's very easy. It's the word no. If you say no, you don't do it. No, I'm not going to sign passport under the legal price, no matter how the AG is going to try to cover it up. I'm not going to do that. Right? So, if I were some of them, I would, Mr. Wilkin, I've reported them all to the Department of Justice in a criminal whistleblower complaint. And unfortunately, there is no one in their camp that say, wow, we have the EU happening, we have, to say, okay, maybe it's time to cut loose, because it's hard. It's hard. I understand there are friendships, ministers, that have benefited from this. But at the end of the day, this is coming. And for me to come here on your podcast and make such an important statement is because I don't think that it's fair that the citizen have to pay for 20 years of crime of the politician that really are obeying to people in the background, right? I am absolutely not concerned that we're going to recover our money. Absolutely not, right? Because the cartel includes banks and people that they're going to have to damage us, right? So I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned is that every time they're going to come up with a lie or a false story dictated by Dev Bath, we're going to come harder. And now, the best advice that I can give to them, it's time for them to cut Dev Bath. The US government has all the details, all the accounts, all the information, the WhatsApp messages, the affidavit, everything. You don't play with the national security of the United States because you've decided to close your eyes to make money. You understand? And that's the problem that these people that call themselves honorable are going to be facing. And if you add to that the cover-up and the weaponization of the Ministry of Justice, of which we have obtained certain communication that they would probably collapse if they knew that we have that, that's going to be a problem. So, I don't know what to tell you. I don't see, them being capable to say, we fucked up, we lied, right? Because listen, they did good things too, right? This is the problem. They try to reform, but you don't reform and use the same people from the cartel. You understand? What they've done is they say, oh, we're going to reform, but it's the same people that committed the crime. No, the people that committed the crime have to be punished. They've made already millions of dollars, right? So the idea that the governor of the ECC bank is involved, well, that's gonna bring them a surprise too. I have to tell you. Listen, it's a storm that they have never faced before. And my message to Prime Minister Drew is, you're a doctor, and you're probably deep down a good man. He lied because he knows that I reported him to the United States government. And he came up with all those claim of, which thanks to Mr. Mauricio, the federal agent knows that it's just, it's about saving the people and recover the money. The money, the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been defrauded from the people, right? So you can come and join the good team, right? Or you can continue to live in denial and see what's going to happen in the next 3 to 4 months. But, when people start to reveal that some people have tens of millions of dollars offshore, nobody's going to like it. When people are going to be revealing the security breach that have been made, nobody's going to like it. And then you are on a list of countries that you don't want to be. You understand? So I'm speaking too much probably, but I'm trying to give you an understanding of the situation that the Federation is facing. And I do it in a very calm way because I know what we found out. I think, and believe me, Timothy has done a lot of things that he's going to have to answer to. But the weaponization against him, like he's only the mother of the problem, it's not fair as well, everybody, and Drew was not strong. He was weak. And why was he weak? We'll see. We've been given some companies to look at. Offshore company, we're looking at the company. We will see. But, I don't have the power of the United States government. They do. But they know everything, they already know everything because with the huge amount of data we gave them, imagine with the power that they have, what they have found out that caused them. And so anyway, so do you have any question? Sorry,
Yeah.
it's too long.
Definitely want to jump in. Mr. Martinez, I think I've listened to all your podcasts, all your interviews. As a doctor, I could tell you now, you're actually looking healthier. You look as if you've lost weight. You have a little shine on you.
I do.
And this is the calmest I've ever seen you. All interviews before, you've looked a bit frustrated, a little, as if you're containing something. You seem as if you've offloaded. I could see that. But I want to highlight something because remember I said I'm here for the macro as well. The fact that you said, because there's a spectrum of corruption that is evident in St. Kitts. Because you said when you entered, like I highlighted to you, you were ushered to very, very powerful men, the men you call Brantley, all the powerful men in our country. Do you know what's the waiting time to get an appointment to see our Prime Minister? Any one of them from 1980 to now.
No, but it's the opposite. They asked to meet me.
No, I understand. I'm saying when you as a citizen or constituent or somebody with a very important issue, there's a long waiting time to get into the office, and there's an even longer waiting time when you're there. For all the prime ministers, in my experience, even to get down into an office to see a PS, unless they've summoned you, it's very difficult. So again, you were ushered to these very powerful men. They wanted to meet you. At one point, you were a supporter. So I have one little question, and you could answer if you want.
Yeah.
When you said that you donated, it's donated the $30,000 to each political party's campaign.
Yeah, and it's legal because I've asked them. I say, is it legal to give you money? And they say yes. And I say, we would prefer to give you a check or wire. And they say no, we prefer cash.
The cash doesn't sound very legal.
But that's what they wanted, and it's the law. The law in your country is you get cash. Okay, So and they would listen. I'll be happy to send you my.
I want to finish a point. Hold on, I want to finish a point. Because that's it. What I was trying to bring out is that we have the most powerful men in the land, rushing, chasing, almost as if they're. I'm searching for the word because I'm so emotional because I had to vomit and swallow it when I hear of my prime minister and my leaders and my most powerful men running behind expats, running behind foreign direct investors as if they don't know their worth or they don't know their country's worth. And then hold on. That's just the remember I said the spectrum. That's a low spectrum to reach to the high spectrum where even when they're challenged, all of our institutions, because Mr. Martinez, you were the first person to highlight this to me and to the nation and to the region. And we have a DPP, we have an AG, we have a central bank that oversees all our banks, oversees all our transactions. We have so much foresight, so much mechanisms and so much institutions placed just to keep that in place. We don't need to create new ones. And all of them failed. All of them colluded. So it's not like
I wouldn't say. Listen, the DPP is a different situation, and I can prove that. The U.S. government is aware, and I don't want to say, but I think he's a good man. But how do you want to go against the people that are running the government? You understand what I'm saying?
No. That's not the excuse. I'm standing up. Mr. Marish is standing up. You're standing up. Nobody has no excuse.
I agree with you. And believe me, when the US government saw the communication that we have obtained from the Ministry of Justice, they went ballistic. Wow. I mean, they honestly, they didn't believe. I say, look, it is. So that's going to be another scandal. And that's why the AG. Anyway.
But that's why I agree with you, because that's exactly.
I wish him good luck, because everything that he has done to try to cover up this, because it's not all black and white. He's also done some good things. You understand? But on that issue, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a big problem.
But Mr. Martinez, here's what I'm saying. I'm trying my best not to personalize a lot of the issues, because I'm saying that these men have titles. They sit in offices. So even if they're the lead, even if they make, there's no such thing as a dictate, because we live in a democratic nation.
Mr. Right. Alexander, let me just tell you something.
Sure.
When they have an election and the Chinese, and I'm not saying that by accident, I'm saying that because we have a witness that will come under oath in Washington to testify that. And the Chinese come and put $3 million cash on the table for the candidate. Do you think that the government, then loyalty goes to who?
That's what I'm getting at. I'm saying this, Mr.
You're not talking about small corruption.
Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. No, I'm not getting at just the corruption. I'm getting at what comes after. Because I don't want people to feel that you're just the whistleblower and then it goes to the US and that's it. I'm trying to expound the bigger problem that there's a whole set of collusion. There were multiple institutions, multiple citizens. That is why we're having the issue where we can't come to grasp with what's going on. Hold on. It means as we challenge these systems, it's just not one. It's many. It's all. So at some point, people are asking themselves, so what we need to do, reconstruct all these institutions, get rid of all these leaders, get rid of all of these men?
But I don't know, because it's not...
No, it's not the question I'm asking you.
But I give you an example, right? I give you two examples, right? You know that the housing projects, they were supposed to make 200 houses per year, and it's been 3 million. Now, And I think they've announced that a month and a half. Now, because people knows that I'm communicating information to the US government, I was contacted by another whistleblower regarding the housing project, right? And I can tell you, I can even send to Mr. Morisho the email. In November 18, 2024, I sent an email and again copied my lawyer to Mr. Wilkin to inform him that I've been contacted by a whistleblower and that the housing project, the guy didn't have the capacity to make it, right? And explain to me the condition of which. Now, and I wrote, it's not my problem, but I think you should know that this whole thing is going to collapse, right? And I copy my lawyer. Everything that we do, we copy the lawyer. Of course, Mr. Wilkin has not responded. Another situation, because people are worried, right? In the last 3 weeks, some people contacted me from St. Kitts because, a lot of people contact me. They know that I'm in direct contact with the US authority to say that they are afraid to go to the police, but there is a 5 people, they've named me 5 people that are part of a pedophile network and that they're afraid to go to the police to report it. And they give me the name. Now, and some are important people, nobody in the cabinet, right? I passed out the information as well to the US government because, it's,
So why can't you pass information, especially the latter, to the police?
Because let me tell you why. First of all, I did what I had to do. I gave the information, okay, to the US. We have provided information about the corruption of official to someone to the ministry. And let's just say that that person disappeared right after that. So we do not believe that the road to talk to a ministry that is covering up a crime. Look, it's very simple, Mr. Alexander. If these people were not afraid, they would come to DC and meet, as I suggested to them, come to meet the feds. Why do you think they don't want to come? And the problem is now there's going to be such a crisis that there is nobody that we can talk to. You understand? Gus Wilkin, we're putting him, wow, he's got to get himself.
But do you know that the AG is the chief legal advisor to the Prime Minister and the country and the whole cabinet?
I think that the AG would be well advised to take the advice of a lawyer. That's all I can say at this stage. So there is really nobody we can talk to. Look, as you can suspect, I sued Douglas. We stopped the lawsuit against him because of the diplomatic issue, so we went. There is nobody. It's not like in St. Lucia. In St. Lucia, you have a leader of the opposition, Alan Chastenay, right, who was not afraid and came to DC and met the US authority, right? And that's why he went back and is so advocate in fighting the crime. But in St. Kitts, everybody has had his hand in the cookie jar. You understand? So now I'm very, very relaxed because number one, I lost 35 pounds. And number two, I know that things are accelerating especially on the level of the US Congress, right? Um, uh, and that finally the truth is going to come out. And guess what? A lot of people are going to have to run because it's going to be really embarrassing for them when people are going to discover how much money they have and the security breach to allow. See, they don't know who are the people that they sell the passport to. Now let me explain. You sell the passport to, right? So then they have a copy of the passport, of course, but they don't know what the people are doing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Correct.
They are going to have a major surprise, a terrible one. And that's regretful. So they made a decision to follow the advice of Dev Bath and the Chinese, right? Mr. Mauricio, Mr. Alexander, I provided in the court in your country the bank statement of Lescan showing the corruption. Your government has done nothing with it.
He was paid off.
$14 million US. Okay. I provided the contract showing the fraud, right? And Gus Wilkin made a statement that, oh, there was nothing wrong. Mr. Wilkin should know that the US government has every piece of information, every document, every correspondence, every WhatsApp message, everything. So you understand? And what do they turn around? They turn around and say, "Oh, we're not blacklisting the Chinese that have committed the fraud, but we're going to blacklist you that brought the case and show us the fraud." So you're dealing with a cartel, right? You're dealing with a cartel. They try to buy us. I can tell you that that's going to come out too, but we refused. And that's going to be, that's the name that you were mentioning. The thing about me, Mr. Alexander, is that everything that I do, it's in writing, and I copy the lawyers all the time to put a trace, right? But it's too bad that because Harris right now they can feel that he's got a momentum, right? So they're worried about Harris, right? I don't think that they should. It's right now. It's not about Harris or whatever, It's about there is a very short window, which they will not take. I can tell you that right now. And my lawyer, Damien Kelsick, told me, say, Philippe, they will let the country burn because it doesn't matter. They've made their money. Right?
They let
the wife, the son. Let me repeat. The wife, the son, the ex-wife, the cousin, they made the money. Okay? What they never expected is that I would get the bank transaction, hand them to the US government, and then imagine what the US government can find out on their own. The most powerful intelligence service in the world. They have a problem. And as long as Drew will not have the courage to cut heads, because there is a way to salvage what can be salvaged. You understand?
So which part is salvageable?
Gentlemen, we're just about approaching the 8 o'clock hour. You guys know that this podcast is a 2 hour podcast, and
Well, it's a,
I really don't want to go down a road where we're going to take up another half an hour. And Mr. Alexander, I appreciate your questions and input, but I'll say this to you. You could leave your mic open. The salvageable situation of this whole situation here is what I tried on November 2nd in a meeting with Prime Minister Joe, the AG, and the individual that I invited in to explain the situation. And since then to now, it have gotten worse because of the lies and the spinning and the twisting and the AI and this kind of stuff. And I would say to you, Mr. Alexander, to salvage some of the situation that is there that can be salvaged, it's not going to be a wholesome resolution, but to save the country and some people's skin, going to take some communication on the Prime Minister's behalf. Let me just use something for example, and I'm going to give you guys a chance to have your closing that we can get out of here. We can come again whenever you guys have the time, but I want to show there's some negotiation supposed to be going on in the Middle East between Israel and Iran. The president got involved, and whatever they was talking, you guys heard the president said that he's thinking about whether or not he's going to drop some bombs in 2 weeks. We realize that the bombs were dropped the next day. This problem that we are having here, I don't think that Prime Minister Joe has the capacity to understand
that it doesn't have the intellect, and two, the background to understand. I hate to say it, but the only one that can understand is Douglas at this level.
Okay.
Right?
We're in some serious shit.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. The country is in some serious shit.
Serious shit.
And I try my best to save the country and its citizens.
Yeah.
These corrupt politicians, if we the people does not stand up to them, Mr. Alexander, COVID would have been a cake, a baby step, or a cake compared to what's to come. Because as Mr. Martinez says, if this thing goes to fruition, those planes that come in at RLB, those cruise ships that comes in at Port Zante, those vessels that bring food from Miami to St. Kitts, I do not speak on behalf of the US government. I do not speak on behalf of Mr. Martinez. But I look at the overall picture of what can happen. Do you really want to test the situation, or you want to resolve it?
Someone from the government called the president of my company and say, we know that something bad is happening, and we just want to maintain the contact and see if we can find a way to resolve the problem with you, but only when we know that it's happening for sure, right? Meaning once people are going to start to be arrested, they don't understand that the problem is now not... Can I tell you something? The corruption is the small part of the problem. That's the small part of the problem. For you, it should be the biggest part of the problem, but that's a small part of the problem. Some people have closed their eyes to certain things that were done that have caused a massive problem. And if you had someone that had a brain responsible, and we had hope that it was going to be the AG, we would say, look, don't even talk to us. Meet these people. They're going to explain to you in what kind of deep shit you are, right? Hey, no problem. They don't have, like Damien Kelsick say, they don't care that, they're going to go all the way. They're going to test it to the end. And it's only when it's too late. And too late is 90 days. I can tell you that right now. The people of this country will find out, no matter what Dev Bass and the Chinese are telling them what to do, it's happening. It's out of my hands. I want you to understand.
But you two guys understand why you two are the most hated in the federation, though, because you know what the information that you're releasing destabilizes the legacy of Comrade Douglas, a sitting
Comrade Douglas.
minister, Mark Brantley, who is CCM, and even PLP, who is the common leader of PLP. So this impacts even the ongoing elections. This destabilizes all the parties because of this level of corruption. So when people see it, people see you guys as attacking all the institutions of our nation. But I want them to understand. Hold on, let me finish that. I want them to understand that, like you said, the corruption is the smart part, because who led the corruption were the leaders. But people closed their eyes in all these institutions, because what these men were getting away with, average citizens like me, doing all my best, could not achieve. I had to fight to get a loan. I had to fight to get funding to open up an office. I had failed business because of the lack of support. And I did everything that a little black boy growing up in St. Kitts was supposed to do, to be able to receive that support without begging. And at no point at all, an easy road was provided for me. But here I am hearing that a man only has to have pale skin and coming from foreign, and he's ushered.
And he's what?
Ushered. Facilitated.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about Israel and in the Middle East.
But look, Mr. Alexander, you have to understand, we invested a lot of money in your country.
Of course, no, I don't want you to see it as an attack on you. I'm just saying that.
And we have been fooled and played by them. So what we're doing is exposing
of course.
to the U.S. Congress and the U.S. government, DOJ, corruption, fraud, money laundering, and security breach. Now, they thought that they could scare me with, you know what the Prime Minister, the best advice I should give to the Prime Minister, he shouldn't talk anymore. You know, Douglas is smart. He doesn't talk. He doesn't make speech. He just, you know. But every time Drew opens his mouth, he goes off script, you know, like the Body Derby thing. You know.
Gentlemen, like I said, let me just make a point for you, Mr. Alexander, and I'm going to give Mr. Martinez a chance to do his closing. I'm going to give you a chance to do your closing, and I'm going to be getting out of here. But over the past couple of days, I have seen many releases of citizens being charged for one thing or the other.
For what?
One thing or the other. Several release. I'm pretty sure Mr. Alexander could speak on that. He's there. I'm out of the federation at the moment. But there are several people that has been charged for whatever crimes. But one thing we have to look at here is this. We have the man at the top of the justice system, our Attorney General, according to a judge, have committed two crimes on 3 occasions, serious crime. Who should be charged? Who is not charged? But our citizens that have done less has been charged and been processed. There's a young lady who was an attorney who was charged for the fake marriages. I do not know the result of that, but I understand since her passing, there was a hearing and she was cleared of all charges, just like on the 10th of June, I think that was. But if this lady was not placed in that situation, she may have been alive today. So the talk of the town is that her life was ended based on the stress she had to undergo with these charges. So you're closing, Mr. Martinez.
Listen, I hope that our conversation was helpful to you, gentlemen. I would encourage the I don't know. I don't know who. I think that Douglas, I honestly think that Denzel Douglas should come to Washington. If I were Denzel Douglas, because listen, he loves his country, okay? If he wants to know how bad this is, he should come to DC, and I'll be happy to introduce him to some people. I don't have to be there because I it's bad. It's really, really bad. And I don't think that the people, the regular citizens, should pay the price of whatever, The bankers have been really bad too, really, really bad. And it's going to touch also other banks that I've never mentioned in the Federation. So I'm sorry. I'm the only one that has not sold a passport illegally. And it's time for the cartel to stop, and it's time for adults to come and sit down and see what can be saved. Whether it's I don't know who, because I haven't, I haven't. Their attitude has been so, to stick to the lie and the new reform. Can you imagine that they've been reforming the program for the last 2 years so many times, telling us that we're doing that with the American? The American just put you on the list. And they mentioned in the State Department that it's because of the CBI, because of China and Iran. What else do you want? You want to see your face on C-SPAN and see how much that one has, how much that one, and the security breach? Okay, we're going anyway. And we're going to look into the Christopher Arbor, I promise you, because it's, we want to know if Mr. Darby had to pay off people as well. I hope not, but the Prime Minister, in his interview, we kept it and sent it to the US. He said that he was corrupted, Harris. And we want to know if Mr. Darby was able to sell his passport as well for and it's nice because in America we can subpoena people, we can get information, like I did the bank account. So never come with fake AI or bullshit of extortion to manipulate your people. You don't know what you're dealing on the other side. And everything that we do, we make sure that we inform the US authority. So it's time to think about the people. That's all I'm going to give them as an advice. Whether it's Douglas or someone else or lawyer, but some people should come,
Mr. Martinez, before Mr. Garfield go, I want to second his observation. It appears as though that you are very comfortable with the information that you received so far and the status of where the case is, because you look like you're born again, your appearance. Very comfortable, very relaxed.
I'm ready to watch the finale of a 3 years. I'm ready to close the chapter of that life, of that 3 years investigation, 3 years of people trying to cover up a crime, and I'm now absolutely the backup that we have. When I see the lawyers, just say that some people in the Congress, when they saw the information, they simply didn't believe it until we gave them the information. And do you remember when Prime Minister Drew said in his TV that a petition watched the documentary? Many petitions participated to the documentary and filmed the documentary. This is not a dictatorship. This is a democracy where people spoke. Mr. Astefan is one of the participants in the documentary. Mr. Chastenay, the leader of the opposition in St. Lucia, is one of the participants. Cameramen from St. Kitts and Nevis have participated in the making of the documentary. This is a democratic process. And the documentary is not to be shown to the public, it's to be shown to the Congress. And it was shown to congressmen, which trigger this whole thing that's happening now. So yes, I'm feeling very comfortable, but I do feel very sad that no one had the courage to come to DC to say, how can we save? They will listen to Dave Bath and to the Chinese all the way to the end. And that's why I'm very comfortable and very relaxed, because the moment of the truth has come. And it's going to be biblical.
Mr. Alexander?
Yeah. You said you second me back on third. I have to go back to his new look. He looks so much like himself and so refined now. I could actually see his Jewish features. So I can't even speak about Israel and the Middle East. I could see now that he's a Jew. But anyway,
I'm a Jew, but I'm also a Christian. See?
Okay, all right.
But I'm a Jew.
All right. I just hope you put
I'm
the
a Jew.
clinical eyes.
I'm a Jew, and I have to say that. And by the way, this is also an issue that I don't want to talk there, but we're going to have to address that with Prime Minister Drew about the Jewish thing. But go ahead.
Mr. Martinez, let me start there. I really wanted to fucking hate you, but I can't. Like every time, this is the first time I'm interacting with you, but every time I listen to your podcast, I'm always impressed by your professionalism, your approach. I'm always impressed by that. But even, I guess what created the angst was the way you spoke of our leaders. But now, gaining so much clarity tonight and seeing you now, I could see it's just disgust. Because I'm assuming, if like you say, you're Jewish by family, you know what has caused those persons to be so powerful. People think it's money and banking. It's just family. It's family that has allowed that culture to exist all this time, irrespective of all they went through. So you must understand that we as a nation, the basic unit is family. So if our leaders, Dr. Judy AG, are not taking care of their families, as in the wider nation, and just think by just supporting a cousin or a wife to be a millionaire, offshore millionaire.
Our son.
Yeah, then we can't speak of Kittitian culture. I actually bought you a book today, it's called From Commoner to King. Because I really wanted to hear about Robert Llewellyn Batchelor so you could understand the Kittitian psyche and understand that these men by no means represent us. These men by no means represent us, because you quite put it stately. These men will allow St. Kitts to burn to be king of the ashes.
Never forget, Mr. Alexander, that Daniel Kelsick, who's my lawyer in St. Kitts, really works for free, because he told me that we are the only possibility for this country to come from that cartel that have been defrauding the citizen for 20 years, right? And that's why he's putting all this time into saving that. I mean, nobody will give enough respect to that man for this fight that he's taking. But he's also, in contact with the U.S. authorities, so he knows what's going on, so he knows that, But look, I understand I'm white, but I'm not really white. I'm from Morocco. I'm
Moroccan. All right.
I'm Moroccan Jew, so I'm more African than you guys. Okay.
You have the coast of Africa. You're African.
Yeah. So,
but I'm saying that this conversation shouldn't be a tribunal between Dr. Marish, as it's called him, and Dr. Martinez and Dr. Alexander. It shouldn't be. This should be at the highest level for the persons who are in charge of the institutions that secure and keep us safe. It shouldn't be between us.
Look, they're only gonna react when when people start to get arrested, or when the Senate, the Congress, they will see, because you know what's happening. You receive a subpoena. You have to appear in Congress, right? And if you don't, it's okay. We don't, to be honest with you, we're going to subpoena that. I mean, not we, but the Congress will subpoena some people that they're going to be very surprised because we have a lot of witness. You have to understand a lot of people have already come to us because they're scared and say, I'll testify. We have one witness that will testify that $3 million cash on the table, to a politician, right? So that's going to be interesting. But all that is not very important. What's important right now is that what the United States have said, hopefully they will work it out, that little issue. I wanted the people to understand that it's not a problem because of the local population. It's about all those people that they've sold passport to, all those Chinese, all those Middle Eastern. They're going to find out things that, like I said, people that have been arrested already, sanctioned. A lot of shit is going on right now. So I don't know if there is someone smart in their camp. I just don't. But in any case, hopefully, this chaos will bring a rebirth to the Federation with people that care about their people. Because it's pretty disgusting to have so much money overseas.
But Alexander, you're still on the closing.
Okay, yeah. I think I'm totally at last words. I felt as if somebody kicked me in my belly. Just like I've been searching for this clarity, and now I get it. It feels so, yeah. It feels so surreal, because again, I'm a doctor by profession. I've worked in the hospital 20 years ago when Buddy Darby the third was receiving that sweetheart deal. I was just coming back from Cuba. Myself and Dr. Drew were just coming back from Cuba, and the pushback and the total attack on us was real. So I don't understand in his seat of power now, how is it that the hospital, our education system can still be in this state, and he has collusion with persons who have these huge bank accounts? The two things just don't meet.
I don't know. I think that you will have all your answers in 3 to 4 months on television. But in terms of Christopher Harbour, I know that my lawyers are preparing the process to understand exactly what happened with Mr. Darby, because twice in 2 different interviews, the Prime Minister said that it was a corrupt deal. Therefore, Mr. Darby has corrupted Timothy Harris. So that's one thing that we're going to have to, put in action for the Congress hearing. And 2, we want to understand if Mr. Darby, as an American, how the passport sales has been affecting with the Chinese, thing. So, the truth is about to come out, gentlemen. They made a mistake, a 20 years mistake, and I just hope that there is someone that can bring some sense. But one thing that they should know, the time of Mr. Bath is over. He's now on the radar here in Washington. And I think that they should understand that. And that gives me a lot of power and a lot of satisfaction to come on this podcast of Mr. Morris Shaw, who is a courageous man to say that. It's time for them to cut the heads of the bad apple and focus on saving what can be saved. That's my closing argument.
Dr. Alexander, you're still on your closing? Your mic is closed. Your mic is closed.
I don't think anything else could be said about that, because the most impressive part of his last podcast is when he said he framed the letter from Deadbat's lawyer. Then is what I understood. He was in it for the long game, and he understands the complexities and the
Well,
I think we lost him.
It appears though we lost Dr. Alexander, but he'll come back in. Maybe they jam him there and sink it.
He's a lovely man.
Yes, sir. I am out of the federation, and you are as well out of the federation, so they cannot affect us at this end. But I'm pretty sure somebody is jamming him and the other side. So, Dr. Martinez, as Mr. Alexander referred to you as, I was about to play my closing anthem, but I will drop another song just to give Dr. Alexander an opportunity to rejoin if he can. And then if not, we'll get out of here. So stand by, please.
Yeah.
I just feel it, oh yes, feel it. Why we hate to see our brother? Should we make it? Oh yes, make it. So I travel long to distant lands, preaching a message to the nation, trying to get my people understand. Consciousness of our complexion, in any satisfaction then made we be enslaved mentally. And I see the cracking of the whip and the beating of the drum, the harsh words from the planter man, and the transporting of people to distant lands. It's still on my mind, no I cannot forget. It's still on my mind, no I cannot forget. It's still on my mind, no I cannot forget. It's still on my mind, no I cannot forget. I said tell me when would we learn again? Would we learn again? Tell me when would we learn again? Would we learn again? I said we got to learn, we surely got to learn. And we don't want to burn, we got to learn. But I said we got to learn, we surely got to learn. And we don't want to burn, we got to learn. Give it up, down boy, give it up, down boy. Give it, give it, give it down boy, give it up, down boy, give it. Life is getting harder. I can feel it. Oh yes, I feel it. But mostly for our color. But we cause it. Oh yes, cause it. Our minds function against ourselves and functions for somebody else. We cannot be the we want to be. They say they ended slavery, but that was just according to history. But they control us mentally, and I see the harsh words from the planter man, and the transporting of people to distant lands is still on our minds. No, I cannot forget. It's still on our minds. No, I cannot forget. It's still on our minds. No, I cannot forget. It's still on our minds. No, I cannot forget. So I said, tell me when would we learn again? Would we learn again? Tell me when would we learn again? Would we learn again? But I said we got to learn, but we surely got to learn. And if we don't want to learn, we got to learn. But I said we got to learn, we surely got to learn. And if we don't want to learn, we got to learn. Give me the damn boy, give me the damn boy, give me the damn boy, give me the damn boy. Some call it class distinction and a color, oh yes, color. They say it's for some reason or another, oh yes, another. But the only reason I can find was designed to destroy our kind. But yet we do not seem to understand. They put our own native man to turn against us when he has position over we and control us mentally. So you see, the cracking of the whip and the beating of the drum, the harsh words from the planter man would be a warning to every West Indian man. It's still on our minds. No, I cannot forget. It's still on our minds. No, I cannot forget. It's still on our minds. No, I cannot forget. It's still on our minds. No, I cannot forget. So I said, tell me when would we learn again? Would we learn again? Tell me when would we learn again? Would we learn again? They said we got to learn, we surely got to learn. And if we don't want to learn, we got to learn. Then I said we got to learn, we surely got to learn. And if we don't want to learn, we got to learn. Give it up, bamboo. Give it up, bamboo. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up, bamboo. Give it up, bamboo. Give it up. Give it up, bamboo. Give it up, bamboo. Give it up. Slavery. Mental. Slavery. Oh yes, it is a mental. It is a mental. Slavery. Oh yeah, mental. Mental. Slavery. Oh yeah, a mental. Slavery.
Sounds of the King Star Shield, that one is called Mental Slavery. And it appears as though that is a situation that we are dealing with in our Bill of Federation at the moment. My good people, we have yet come to the end of another successful broadcast here on Wednesday evening, June 25th, 2025. As I get ready to drop the unofficial closing anthem of our Bill of Federation of St. Kitts Nevis, this one is called Arise by the late great the King Arrow. I want to thank Brother Martinez and Dr. Alexander for joining me this evening to give some updates and having a well-needed conversation about the happening in our beloved Federation. So my good people, I'm DJ Marisha coming to you from a remote location here this evening. And I just want to thank all you folks to
Would you stand up and see your country dying and never lend a helping hand? Would you see your children's future dwindling, creating much disillusion? Or would we watch on idly, disregarding our self-sufficiency? Maladministration, wrecking all and no. I said no, not at all. Citizens, let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct our mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We'll move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours. Would you assist building a wall so massive or a bridge? Don't care how small. As one tends to divide our people, the other unite us all. Unambitious men just cannot be a part of this community. Displaying selfishness, a total lack of interest. No, I said no, not at all. Citizens, let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct our mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours. Can your conscience be clear? Indulging corruption or misusing public office, being accused of unemployment and crimes, or disrupting a citizen's peace. Oh, my country in this harmony, separated politically. Hatred for a brother cannot love each other. No, I say no, not at all. Citizens, let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct all mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We'll move on together hand in hand. So rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours.
Yes, my good people, that's the sound of the late great King Addo. I want to thank everyone who log on and take a listen to this podcast this evening. Look forward to seeing you next Wednesday, same place, same time. God's willing. God blessing and everyone, and have a safe